Moises Salinas. I'm the Chief Diversity Officer at Central. And to paraphrase a famous American, I have a dream. But my dream is much more modest. My dream is that the president of the university one day will call me to his office and he will tell me, Moises, you're fired. Before I became Chief Diversity Officer, I was a faculty member in the Department of Psychology for 9 years. And my area of scholarship is actually, I'm a cross-cultural psychologist and was on stereotypes and affirmative action. And I was also the chair of the faculty diversity committee. And I don't know if you remember, about a year and a half, we had some very serious issues with diversity at Central. And I was one of the first people there screaming, and at the same time, we started searching for a new Chief Diversity Officer, and pretty much I decided to apply for the job to make a statement. I never really intended to be selected. But apparently the president had a lapse of judgment and decided to appoint a psychologist to be the Chief Diversity Officer, and here I am. But I want to be fired not because I would like to go back to my teaching psychology job, which I love. But I would like to be fired because we would honestly say, you know what, we don't need a Chief Diversity Officer anymore. We really, all the problems are solved, everybody's equal. The color of your skin is nothing more than a box that you can just as relevant as the color of your hair and color of your eyes. But I'm afraid that my job is secure. And I don't think that the president will fire me, at least not for that reason, anytime soon. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you a personal story. Many years ago, when I was applying to PhD programs, I applied to Yale University, or as I call it in Mexico, where I'm from, Yale University.
Jail, yes.
My American friends could never understand why I was so excited that I might be going to jail. I might be going to jail. So I actually one day got a call from the chair of the program, the social psychology program at Yale, and he told me, we're very interested in you, can you come over for an interview? And I said, absolutely. They paid my way over, so I flew to New York. I took the train over to Union Station, and there was this professor. She was supposed to pick me up at the station. Now, I was going to an interview at Yale. I was all dressed up and very nice, suit. I even had to buy a suit because I didn't have one. I was just a student at the time. So I get there and I start looking for a person that looks like she's a Yale professor. Now, how does a Yale professor look like? I figured low shoes, long skirt, white hair, glass, I don't know, something like Madeleine Albright, Dr. Ruth, I don't know. So I look and say, I don't see anybody that looks like a Yale professor looking for somebody, so I just stand there. Now, Union Station, is not that big, it's one big room. After you go through the tunnel, so after like 5 minutes or so, the station is almost empty and nobody has approached me. We didn't have cell phones back then, so I go to the public phone, call her office, get her voicemail, I don't know what to do. After 15 minutes or so, everybody's gone from the station except one woman, maybe 30 years old, jeans, sweatshirt. I said, you know what, maybe she couldn't come, and she sent a graduate student or something to pick me up. So I'm going to approach her and ask her, so I come and I say, excuse me, are you with the office of Professor so-and-so? She looks at me and says, I'm Professor so-and-so, are you Moises Salinas? So yeah. Oh wow, you don't look Mexican. Now, I don't know what she was expecting. Probably short I am, but dark hair, darker skin, big mustache, sombreros. I am not sure, but and I didn't tell her, well, you don't look professor either. But this is the real punchline. This woman is now at Harvard. She is one of the top researchers for stereotypes in the United States. She's the one who invented the whole concept of implicit implicit attitudes, implicit stereotypes, which is connected. And she was a researcher on stereotypes at the time, and yet all the information that she had from me for my application that I was from Mexico, so she was automatically expecting somebody with certain characteristics. And when you have a top expert on stereotypes in the world, using stereotypes to try to identify who's this guy who's coming for an interview at my program, I don't think that we are anywhere close to a post-racial society. Beginning with the fact that the term race itself is racist. I mean, how many faculty here are from biology, if any? You know that that from the biological perspective, the term race doesn't exist. There is no such thing as race. Race is a social construct, and it's a social construct that was created by people who wanted to categorize the world in ways that were black and white, because white was purity and nice and all the good stuff, and black was evil. So we are white, we are the good, and there is the black that is bad, and none of us really are black or white. We go from pale pink to brown. Yet some people wanted to make those categorizations and those distinctions because it fitted certain social agendas, certain view of the world. That said, ethnicity is a real term. There's a term that I think social sciences we know that we use, and it characterizes people that come from different cultures, have a common history, have a common geographical origin, and so on. And as people from different ethnic groups, we all bring a different contribution to society. The salad bowl that Teresa was talking about. But even in a salad bowl, when you eat a Caesar salad, which by the way is one of the great contributions of Mexico to the world. People don't know that. The anchovy is dominant. We have a lot of less lettuce, but what taste that stays in your mouth is anchovy. And we still have in America dominant groups over all. Even though there is more lettuce than anchovy. It is important to say also that the term minority, it is a misnomer. And as Teresa was saying, I mean, minorities are the majority. I like to use better the term historically underrepresented groups, especially because the acronym would be HOG, which is a nice word. So, because there are groups that have been historically, even when they are a majority, like women, historically underserved, underrepresented, and not only historically to this day. So the question is not, are we post-racial or are we post-ethnic? Are we in a world in which we can say we are all treated equal? And the answer is definitely not. The answer is that we still have a lot of work to do. And as you probably figure, I like to quote or to paraphrase famous people. Somebody once said, "I stand on the shoulders of giants." I don't think we stand on the shoulders of giants. I think that we stand on each other's shoulders. That we all, I mean, some people make more of a contribution than others, but ultimately it's because all of us work together to try to solve something that by creating this big pyramid of small efforts we can make a difference. And the idea is to make in each one of our little tasks an effort to try to make a difference. When we are in the classroom, when we are the chief diversity officer, when we are an administrator or a staff member or whatever we do, that we actually make a difference, to try to remember something that I like to say, which is that we are all equal in the fact that we are all different.